Hello, Attorney Peter Olson here, Chicago Family Law Group. Doing a little YouTube live. Haven't done this in a while. Hopefully, I don't get bombarded with chats, even though I'm not ready for them. So, hey, happy Friday. And here's the topic for today: 6 things to think about post divorce. 6 things to think about post divorce. I'm Attorney Peter Olson, Chicago Family Law Group. I support the legal needs of middle class families and protect children during times of conflict so that their futures are safe and secure. We're always really wanting to provide that security for children and families within the context of family law and helping people with their real life problems and the legal part of those real life problems. So let's talk about things to remember and actually things to do. Remember to do post divorce. Ready for them? Some of these are pretty basic. Some of them might not be so obvious, but they're all important. Ready? Here. Number one, change beneficiaries on accounts where your spouse is listed. Okay? You have a 401k plan. Many pensions, 401ks, the spouse is required to be the beneficiary, the death benefit person on a plan. And you know what? If you don't change that person, they're usually going to get that money. So think about it: life insurance, 401ks, bank accounts, etc. If you look around or do a quick Google search, you'll definitely find a few funny or sad stories where somebody passed away somewhat recently after a divorce, and the ex-wife got $1 million instead of maybe a new wife or children. And why? Because they left her as the death benefit person on a life insurance policy or 401k plan that you've been contributing to for years. So that's number one. Quick, easy to do, but critical. Critical. Change beneficiaries. Two, ready? If you want to change your name to a different name, that's something to think about post divorce. I've only had one name in my life. My name's Peter Olson. But it's right, obviously not uncommon and more common that a female would take the last name of her husband. And now you're divorced and you're maybe not thinking as highly of that guy anymore. Maybe you weren't married for that long and you want to go back to a maiden name, a previous name. That's something to do post divorce. We're going to include a name change in a divorce judgment, but practically, that really doesn't do it. That gives you the right to do it. And then the next steps to actually get that done would be to change IDs, would be to change a driver's license, change a passport, change your social security information, because practically then what's going to change that stuff is now you're going to get new accounts and you're going to be doing new things going forward where people are asking for IDs, etc. And then that's really what's going to change it. I mean, you could obviously change it amongst your friends or something, but the trick is a good lawyer is going to have it in your divorce judgment. And then the next step, real world post divorce, is change ID, social security passport, driver's license. And that's what putting it in the divorce judgment allows. Okay. So that's number two, name change. Number three, not just changing beneficiaries on a 401 or a pension, but if you're actually getting part of a pension, a divorce judgment by itself usually doesn't actually get you the money. And you typically, almost always, depending on the type of the plan, and I'm not going to go too deep into the weeds on, pension division, real depth and nuance, but most plans, 401k example, right, most common kind of plan, you have to enter something called a quadro, a qualified domestic relations order. It's not just enter your divorce judgment, divorce over. You have to enter a qualified domestic relations order that's a separate type of order before you're going to actually get that money. If you have a lawyer, they better be doing that, because usually, right, with a 401k plan, a lot of money is at stake, so it needs to be done. But remember that, because just getting awarded half of somebody's 401 in a divorce judgment does not actually get you the money. What gets you the money is entering a qualified domestic relations order and then sending that certified qualified domestic relations order to, Fidelity or whoever has the 401k plan. Okay, so do what you need to do. Let's just put it that way. Do what you need to do on pension 401k issues so you actually get that money. Okay, that's 3. 4, ready? Real estate division. I mean, sometimes it's simple, or it's just going to happen because, right, you're selling a house, you're forced to sell a house, and everybody kind of wants the proceeds, so there's urgency. So that's one thing, right? If there's a requirement that a piece of property be listed for sale within 30 or 60 days, obviously, you need to get a real estate broker, that kind of thing. Boom. The one that's a little less urgent and a little less obvious just to think about on real estate, though, is maybe you're not actually selling it right away. Maybe you are keeping the home, and maybe you just have to refinance a former spouse off the property or off the mortgage, I guess is a better way to put it. But you need to make sure that other spouse signs over their interest in the property and that you get that recorded. Because once in a while, I have heard of a horror story or two. This is one. We weren't involved in the divorce, but we helped this guy out on some post-divorce where he was actually awarded some real estate, and he didn't really consummate the recording of the deed after the divorce. And what happened is then his ex-wife had some bankruptcy issues, and that property that he was awarded actually got pulled from him. So basically, he lost all this stuff he was awarded because he didn't record the deed and basically sort of effectuate the fact that he was awarded that real estate. That's a big issue, that bankruptcy piece. So take the victory, take the real estate that you're entitled to, and usually that means actually getting the deed recorded and taking care of business that way. Okay, so that's 4. Take care of real estate division. 5. Think about some therapy. Think about some therapy, whether it be for yourself or your children. Okay, I can think of many examples of friends, professionally or not professionally, who kind of harken back to going through a divorce as just one of the worst parts of their life and something where they're still scarred. Okay, don't ignore that. Grieve, right? Learn the new skills and coping that you need basically to deal with the damage that the breakup of a relationship entails, the impact parents dividing has on children entails. So I think that's just an automatic. I mean, unless you're talking about a real short-term marriage where, maybe there wasn't a lot to the relationship to begin with, but if you're talking about a long-term relationship of importance, and now that's going away and your world is turned upside down. I'm talking to you as the spouse, but also thinking about kids. That's a big issue in somebody's life. And don't think you're not impacted. Don't kind of tough it out. Get the skills and the coping that a professional, therapist is going to help you with. So that's 5. Don't ignore the therapy piece, especially with children. Don't ignore the fact that this is traumatic for you and your children. And then lastly, this is more of a macro level thing, but just keep this in mind. 2 big parts of a divorce, right? Financial and property issues and non-financial child-related issues. Property-related matters are done, 100% done, the day a divorce is entered. So, division of bank accounts, the sofa, cars, 401 real estate, that's done, if I got divorced yesterday, that's done. It's done. However, non-financial child-related matters, and this is just sort of a general statement because there are different standards for different things, but non-financial child-related stuff is always modifiable, always. And actually, financial child-related is also always modifiable. So just keep that in mind in terms of post-divorce stuff. You don't want to be in court forever, but just keep it in mind that stuff related to custody and decision making of children, parenting time, and stuff like child support. Those pieces are changeable after the fact, right? Property final day of divorce, child related stuff is always modifiable with different standards depending on the specific issue. Are those points clear? 6 things to think about post divorce, 6 things to do. Think and then do, right? Just kind of thinking about stuff usually doesn't do a lot. But if you take action, change beneficiaries on insurance and accounts, change your name if you want to, change your IDs to change your name if you want to, get the part of the pension or the 401k that you're entitled to, because usually that's something that's sort of post divorce, even though it's part of the divorce. Record a deed on real estate if you've been awarded it, or you might get it grabbed from you in a bankruptcy situation. 5, repair yourself. Get the therapy that you, excuse me, or your children need. And 6, remember, stuff related to children is modifiable post divorce. I hope those 6 points help you. Really doing this video a lot for just some of our clients. We used to send out a form letter. I think I kind of wanted just a little video, like doing that better than an old school letter these days. But if not, if you're somebody who doesn't have an affiliation with our firm, check us out. FamilyLawChicago.com is the website. There's a chat bot there, or give us a call, 312-893-5888. The next step with our firm is basically, connect for a free initial call or a free initial consultation. We appreciate the opportunity to serve people, and we're passionate about supporting middle-class families in the family law space in Chicagoland. Thank you.